Vegas police have arrested a man connected to the 1996 murder of rapper Tupac Shakur. A grand jury indicted Dwayne Davis on one count of murder with a deadly weapon. Davis is one of the last witnesses to the drive-by shooting that killed Shakur. He is believed to have ordered the death of the rapper, according to prosecutors.
It is one of the most famous murder cases in American history, and now police in Las Vegas say they have made an arrest in connection to the drive-by killing of Tupac Shakur from the 1990s. Police giving an update just in the last minutes or so on who they've indicted for his murder. Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes is here now with more about the case, and what a bombshell that dropped this afternoon.
Bombshell for sure. I had opportunity to watch the press conference, and the first thing I could say is looking what the district attorney said. He said, oftentimes with the justice system, justice delayed is normally justice, not earned. And so he said, no, not here. We've done our job. We've always been attempting to do this. He wanted to commend the officers that put in the work over the years, 27 plus years. Now his mother, Tupac's mother, is obviously passed 2016, but for the rest of his family, his siblings, and the other individuals that have been affected by this around the world, now have a little bit of justice, knowing that the individual is now behind bars.
Describe the investigation. As they said, obviously this cold case, long arms of the law, taking a long time, but a lot of that broke basically in 2018 when the suspect admitted in himself as to being at the scene.
One thing they hit on today in the presser that I thought was great, they said at the time of the incident, maybe like a week later, we knew everything that we knew today. However, it wasn't until that 2018 interview, in the subsequent interviews after, Keefe D was very, very bold with the book release, press conferences all across the country, internet, Vlad TV and other institutions had him on there talking about not just his location at the time of the incident, but actually intricate details. And they said it lined up to specific evidence that they found. You add that on top of the not the raid, but the warrant that they had to search Keefe D's home about a few weeks back. Combining those two things with the 2018 interviews, I think that took it over the top. That allowed them to say, no, we have the evidence. This is our guy, and now everyone else is dead. There were 4 individuals in that car. The one that everyone at the time believed did it, Orlando, he was gone. 2 years later, he was killed. And so that was his cousin, his nephew. Because of that, I believe that they knew this was him. He just cooperated. We're in an era right now where folks, I've said it before with Trump and with the Menendez case, your words have been used against you more times than ever before because of the internet and the access to individuals more than any other time in history.
And still, it took even 5 years, 6 years or whatever, 5 years after 2018 to come to that. I remember this very well. Back in the 90s, there was the Selden-Tyson fight. I was standing at the Hard Rock when all this was going on this weekend. It was a huge deal that happened, but all the things that have happened with this legendary status. As a lawyer, when you look at this, does it come to full circle on how you can make this case come together and make this stick in court now?
The problem is that when you have an individual that doesn't listen to the advice of counsel, he did a proffer, which doesn't give you immunity to a case. It doesn't give you immunity for conviction. It says we won't use those statements that you make against you. That doesn't mean that someone else can't use the statements that you make against you. And it doesn't mean that information that's used outside of that sit down, that proffer, can't be used against you. That was the worst part. And I always tell my clients, I can beat the other evidence that's out there, but it's hard for me to beat the evidence that's you. Your words that you say against you are extremely hard to defeat.
Seeing all on the news, like, damn, I got away.
That was Dwayne Keefe Davis's reaction after Tupac's murder, recounted during a podcast. Davis, who now calls Henderson home, had his house raided by Metro back in July and was arrested on Friday after these pictures, videos, and interviews were presented to a grand jury. The grand jury finding there was enough evidence to try him for the 1996 drive-by killing. He is also accused of plotting the murder.
The moment it was announced that Tupac passed away, what was your reaction and what was Orlando's reaction?
We ain't gonna let him see us sweat, you know what I'm saying? Let's give away this, you know what I'm saying? This is like telling ourselves.
Investigators say Davis confessed to his involvement in the case, giving full details of how he and co-conspirators killed the late rapper. But that interview was in exchange for information, and Davis was given immunity. What he later revealed in documentaries and podcasts was not part of the original deal with police, and now prosecutors are using his own words against him.
We went up to the light on Sunset and Flamingo, and dude would act like he was in a parade or something. in that BMW, hanging out the window. Hey, this Tupac, it's Tupac. And we let that came up on the side of him.
I read in the book you said that it looked like you guys rolled up and Pac reached.
Looked like he was reaching, yeah. It looked like he was ready to bust our and like we was the first ones.
Yeah.
Luckiest one, I guess. Hit that corner, gave a little chase, boom, boom, boom.
So you guys parked the car, put the gun under the tire, and then I think you said in the book you guys came back out and you guys saw ambulances coming, or with Tupac and Suge in the ambulance.
You wanted to say that for a Compton street legend, man. Y'all need to go buy that book.
This is the book he wrote about what happened. Compton Street Legend, Notorious Keefe D's street-level accounts of Tupac and Biggie's murders, death row origins, Suge Knight, Puffy Combs, and crooked cops. The book, now part of the murder case.
And Davis is expected to appear in court on Wednesday morning. The 60-year-old is facing one charge of murder with a deadly weapon with a gang enhancement attached.
The record reflects that Mr. Davis is present in custody. Mr. DiGiacomo and Mr. Palal are here on behalf of the state. Mr. Davis, sir, have you retained counsel to represent you in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Who have you retained?
Edie Fong.
Okay, and is that person going to be here today?
No, he needs 2 weeks to be here. He needs to continue 2 weeks.
He said he needed 2 weeks to be here?
Oh yeah, he needed a continuance for 2 weeks.
Okay, and what's his name again?
Edie Fong.
Edie Fall?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to continue this matter for 2 weeks on a Thursday. That date is?
October 19th at 9 a.m.
Okay, we'll be back on that date.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right.
Tell me what your reaction is to the arrest of Keefe D.
Well, surprise number one, because I didn't think Keefe D would never get arrested. Nor do I want to see him get arrested. You know, let's get one thing straight, first and foremost. You know, me and Keefe D played on the same Pop Warner football team. And whatever the circumstances, if he had an involvement with anything, if he didn't have any involvement with anything, who want to see? I wouldn't wish somebody going to prison on my worst enemy.
The DA says that Keefe D was in the car with his nephew, and that presumably his nephew, according to the DA, is the one that shot Tupac, and that it was done with the full knowledge of Keefe. Do they have it right?
It was only two people in the car. And Pac not going to tell the story. I ain't going to tell the story, but I tell you this. And I never had nothing bad to say about Orlando because, number one, he wasn't the shooter. Number two, he came to my hearing and told to let me go and told the truth. They still didn't let me go.
If you are called to testify in this case?
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be.
Why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
Why not?
Well, number one, because I'm not going to get on the stand and testify on somebody for what?
They seem to be saying that Orlando was the shooter and Keefe was in on it, that he had full knowledge of what was going down, and it was revenge for Orlando getting beaten up by Tupac and his team at the MGM after the Tyson fight. Is that correct?
No.
Then who shot Tupac?
It wasn't Anderson, so that's all I got to say about that part.
To summarize, you are saying Orlando was not the shooter, although you won't say who the shooter was. You are not saying whether Keefe was involved in any way in the shooting. And you are saying that if you're called to testify by either side, you will not comply, you will not testify. Do I have that right?
1,000%. I wouldn't go, I wouldn't testify, none of that. At the end of the day, Free Keefy D.
I've looked now at Flamingo and Koval, at a spot made infamous by one of the Valley's highest profile killings that has gone unsolved for decades. Rapper Tupac Shakur died after a drive-by shooting here in 1996. Now, nearly 3 decades later, a suspect is finally in jail.